This is the story of 27-year-old Safura Zargar, the researcher scholar from Jamia Millia Islamia who is currently in judicial custody. Zargar was arrested almost 2 months ago on April 10 under the charges of blocking road and obstructing the traffic. After getting bail for the same, she was re-arrested on April 13 under the provisions of UAPA Act and other charges of IPC, Indian Penal Code. She was mainly accused of a conspiracy that led to riots in the parts of northeast Delhi. She then went to the court seeking for bail, but the same was denied to her, not once, not twice, but for the third time as well. So before moving further, let me tell you what is UAPA Act. UAPA Act stands for Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. As the name itself suggests, that its main objective was to make powers available for the authorities to deal with the activities directed against the integrity of India. A lot of questions were raised as to why the court is denying Safura Zargar the bail. In return, the court put out a lot of observations and reasons as to why the bail application was denied a lot of times. The first observation or the reason that was put out by the court for denying her bail application was that the action done by the accused comes under the definition of unlawful activity and hence the bail cannot be granted. Now, what is unlawful activity? That means any act done by any individual or association, either by words, representation, sign, spoken or written, which brings disaffection against India, is termed as unlawful activity. Now note, this unlawful activity is punishable under Chapter 3 of UAPA Act. Please note, this is punishable under Chapter 3 of UAPA Act. Now, why am I asking you all to know this? You'll get to know in the later part of the video. The second observation or the reason that was given by the court for not granting her bail was that there are certain restrictions and limitations provided under Section 43D5 of UAPA Act and hence the bail cannot be granted. Now, what is Section 43D5? Section 43D5 states that any act which is punishable under Chapter 4 and 6 which only talks about terrorist activities, and in that case, bail cannot be granted. Now here is the catch. If Safura's case or action was termed as unlawful activity which comes under Chapter 3, then how can the court deny her bail on the basis of Section 43D5 which only talks about Chapter 4 and 6 which deals with terrorist activities? By emphasizing a lot on Chapter 3, 4 and 6, what am I trying to put in front of you all is that there are certain restrictions and limitations for granting bail for offence charged under Chapter 4 and 6 and not on 3. Safura's act or case was termed under unlawful activity which comes under Chapter 3. The third and the last reason or the observation that was put out by the court was that because of her inflammatory speech given on Chand Bagh, so the bail cannot be granted. Now what does Section 10 says? Things said or done by the conspirators in reference to common design. The prosecution accused her of giving an inflammatory speech on Chand Bagh, but the counsel acknowledged that she was never present on Chand Bagh. In turn, the court charged her under Section 10 of IEA, Indian Evidence Act, which says that even if you were not present at the spot, the presence of your co-conspirators is reliable enough to put charges against you of Section 10 of Indian Evidence Act, and hence the bail cannot be granted. Now again, the court failed to explain that who were the co-conspirators, how were they related to Safura Zargar. Safura Zargar उनको जानती है कि नहीं? What were the nature of their speech? As I end this video, I would just say that bail, being the matter of right, should be taken into consideration if possible. As rightly pointed out, that a lot of time her bail was denied, but however the prosecution failed to explain that how can she be a threat to the country or how can she run away from the country if bail was granted to her.